everyone. Hello. I think I just get started on this. I've not done one of these before, so it's really exciting to be here today. I'm here to talk about childcare, an issue very close to my heart, and I'm sure many of yours as well. So my name's Sarah Hesz. I work at Bubble, and Bubble exists to shake up how we think about childcare. Bubble's an app, and you can find local sitters and nannies nearby, book and arrange childcare very quickly, very simply. I want us to talk about childcare today, and I want us to talk about why it isn't working. I don't know about you, but I'd say about 80% of my brain is often preoccupied with childcare. Where are my kids right now? Who's picking them up later? Who's going to do the spellings with Leo? Who's going to take Noah for her flu vaccination at the same time as picking up Rosie from drama? It's a constant chess game in my head, and you always have to be several moves ahead. Otherwise, you find yourself in that ultimate checkmate moment, which is the call from the after school club saying, Mrs. Hesz, Leo seems to be the last person here today. This is followed by a mad scramble out the door as you go and pick up your abandoned child. He's totally fine. Childcare has been stuck in the last century and it's no longer fit for purpose. So today I'd like to talk about how things are finally changing and how we can erase some of the myths and misconceptions around childcare that still exist today. So I'd like to start by saying I think it's a really exciting time to talk about childcare because this year, and my God, what a year it has been and continues to be, it's a year where childcare has been exposed for being the glue that's holding our workforce together. Never before have children and childcare been so visible. And in a wonderful way, children have kind of staged this sort of mini uprising, be it TV news interviews which have been invaded, or conference call coups, or just that kind of Peppa Pig soundtrack that's been the background to every one of my Zoom calls anyway. And I think this is really interesting. I spoke to a leader of a big business fairly recently, and she said that it took lockdown for her to realise that actually half her team are parents, and there were several men on her team who she had no idea had kids. And this is actually a real problem because something which is invisible means that people don't, because childcare is so invisible, it means that people don't see the extra pressure it puts on parents. It means that no one talks about the enormous financial burden, and it means that no one confronts the fact that poor access to childcare is holding parents back. So I want to talk about childcare and actually be proud to say it's an essential part of our lives as working parents. We need to be honest about the fact of how difficult it is to find a long-term solution that needs as a parent shift every year, if not more frequently. And also not be ashamed of it. Childcare is not a luxury. It's an essential part of keeping your family happy and well. So there are 3 myths that I want us to talk about today. Myths that I found from talking to hundreds of parents, and I would be interested to know if you have any others that you'd like to add to this. So, number 1, childcare is a sign of weakness. It is totally insane that I speak to hundreds of women who are embarrassed to admit they pay for childcare, that they should somehow manage to hold down a full-time job, look after kids, be a great sister, a wonderful daughter, a Zumba class attendee, and do this all by themselves and still be grinning with gratitude at the end of the day. After all, they chose to have kids. This is a narrative which absolutely has to end. In Caitlin Moran's book, and I'm stealing from the brilliant Caitlin Moran here, she talks incredulously about how childcare is not tax deductible when so many other things are. This isn't about treating working parents to something lovely. It's about the foundations of society. Every time we make things easier and better for working parents, we make things better for society. I think that's such an important point. Childcare is not a frivolous luxury. It holds families together and allows parents to thrive in order that their children can too. Myth number 2, childcare is the responsibility of women. At Bubble, our own research showed that 84% of parents believe that society still sees childcare as a woman's job, and 67% of parents also believe fathers do less childcare because of the stigma that surrounds it. And I think this is interesting, and I feel very positive that this is a trend that is on the turn. And this year, you know, a lot has changed, and I'm always looking for positives in 2020. Dads have been at home more than ever, and therefore are much more involved in childcare and seeing what it entails. And there's loads written about the mental load that falls on women. And a huge part of that is that constant chess game I talked about earlier. And at Bubble, we are trying to actively promote childcare as a joint decision. And Bubble was founded by Ari, who's a dad, and he saw that women were taking on more than the fair share of childcare organisation duties. So it's why on Bubble, you can have a joint account that both parents can access. So choosing and booking a sitter or nanny becomes a collaborative process. My third myth today is that flexible childcare is an oxymoron. Childcare is a sector that has suffered from a lack of innovation. It's the oldest service job in the world, and in some ways it's hardly changed. But life has changed, and this year really significantly. 73% of parents say their childcare needs have changed post-lockdown. I actually just had to add little brackets 1 in here today, which is a slightly depressing point, but this is some research we did in the summer, where a quarter of parents expressed concern that their need for childcare had increased, and almost a half wanted a service that was more suited to their current work-life balance. Working from home requires a different level of childcare. It requires something far more flexible than the traditional forms of childcare that we've been used to. Bubble exists to provide simpler childcare for busy parents, and we've developed a smarter way of doing things that allows parents to be in control. I love this word control, because I think when you become a parent, you lose a lot of control. You're no longer in charge of your schedule, your home, what's for dinner, and that spontaneity can really vanish. So we've designed Bubble to give some small amount of control back to parents. So you can decide when you want to be a parent, when you need to be a boss, a partner, a mentor, a goalkeeper for your team, a sister, a pub quiz captain, or a person who just needs to drink some wine with your friends. At Bubble, we do everything we can to provide childcare that lets them be everything that they need to be and fix flexibly around their lifestyle and their way of working. So those are the 3 myths I hope we can debunk together. 1, childcare is not a sign of weakness. Childcare is not the responsibility of just women. And 3, flexible childcare does not need to be an oxymoron. So I will finish with a bit of a pitch to say, please give Bubble a try. I genuinely think it is life-changing. We hear from parents all the time to say that we've been an absolute lifeline this year, and it does really shift your thinking around childcare when you have access to hundreds of local sitters and nannies very quickly. It's free to create a profile and look at the sitters and nannies who are near to you. And best of all, we're giving everyone here £10 off your first sit, so you can give it a whirl. Create a profile and add code FLEX10 to the My Wallet section of the app. If you've got any questions on that, do drop us a note. Also, if there are any businesses listening in, or you work for a business who would like to talk about gender equality and how better to promote it with childcare, I'm really happy and would love to discuss how Bubble can help. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that you can feel really proud of whatever childcare decisions that you make. Thank you very much.